to be bringing you the heart verse, and this heart verse is what we'll be using for the next few weeks. And it's found in the Bible in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 13 to 17. And now that may sound like a lot, but it's a very important verse. And it starts, "Therefore, put on the full armour of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you have done everything to stand, stand firm then, with the belt of truth buckled around your waist, with the breastplate of righteousness in place, and with your feet fitted with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. In addition to all this, take up the shield of faith, with which you can extinguish all the flaming arrows of the evil one. Take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God." It's a very important verse and a good one to remember, that each day that we put on our full armour of God. In your kids packs, there is a little prayer, a prayer to be able to each morning put on your full armour of God. And I want to encourage you to be able to say that prayer each morning and pray that over yourselves, and to remember each morning to put on those 6 things: the belt of truth, the breastplate of righteousness, the gospel of peace shoes, the shield of faith, the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit. So remember this week and the weeks to come to put on your full armour of God. Hi Connect Kids, it's so good to be with you this week. I hope last week you spoiled all the mums and the special women in your world at the moment. But this week, in the next coming weeks, we're going to be talking about the armour of God. And the Bible passage we can read that in is in Ephesians 6. And if we start at verse 13, "Therefore, put on the full armour of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you have done everything to stand, stand firm then, with the belt of truth buckled around your waist, with the breastplate of righteousness in place, and with your feet fitted with the gospel of peace. In addition to all this, take up the shield of faith, with which you can extinguish all the flaming arrows of the evil one. Take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God." You can see there in verse 13 that it says to put on the full armour of God. And so I just want to get you guys to imagine a night. So not like the moon and the stars in the sky kind of night, but a knight going to battle, a knight in shining armour with all his protective gear on. So back in the day, probably way back before Granny Apple Smith, back in the day, the knights used to get dressed up in their armour, and they used to be to protect themselves, and it'd be made of whether it be steel or metal, and so that the other swords couldn't penetrate through it. And that's a way for them to be able to explain it to us today. But it says that the 6 things that we should put on: so the belt of truth, the breastplate of righteousness, the shoes of peace, the shield of faith, the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit. And so in the following weeks, we're going to go through each one of those separately, just so we can talk and learn more about what that means, what it means to put those on. But today, I just want to do an overview of what it means and how it even helps to put the armour of God on. And so I've got a little object lesson here today. So this, yes, it is an orange, but could you imagine that the orange peel around it is the armour of God. And so it's with this armour that when we put all those 6 pieces of armour on, when we are fully clothed in our armour, we can stand against the evil one's schemes. We can live our best lives as well. And so I just want to make a point with this, that, you know what, when we have our full armour on, we can float like this orange. We can stand against the enemy schemes. We can stand firm to know. And you can see that it's floating there. Hopefully you can see that. But I've got another orange. And at the moment he's got his full armor on. But what would happen if maybe in the morning he forgot to put one of those armors on? What if he forgot to put the belt of truth on? Maybe he told a lie. Maybe somebody said something mean to him and he believed it as well. Or maybe he didn't put his shoes of peace on. And if he didn't put his shoes of peace on, he may feel anxious, he might feel afraid or worried. And slowly, if we take off every piece of armor, the sword of the Spirit, the very word of God, the helmet of salvation, what's going to happen now that we've taken the armor of God off, we've slowly peeled each of those armor off, what's going to happen? Is he going to be able to stand firm and float like this other orange? You can see that he sinks. So the orange here has sunk because he hasn't put his armor on. And maybe it's that little bit by little bit, the armor has come off. Little bit by little bit that we forgot to put our helmet of salvation or the belt of truth on. And so that's why it's important. That's why we're taking the time to go through the armor of God and what it means to fully clothe ourselves with the armor of God, because we want each and every one of you to be able to stand strong, to stand against the enemy's schemes, and for you to be able to float like this orange. So guys, this week in your Connect Kids packs, there is a big piece of butcher's paper. So today what I would like you to do is to just lay it down on a piece of floor, and you might need a brother, a sister or a parent to help you with this. But if you just draw the outline of your body, so draw all your outline of your body on that piece of paper, and then you can decorate it, you could color it in, you could even get some magazines and cut out some ears or some eyes and nose and mouth, draw some hair, and that's going to be, so that's you. That's going to be the outline and the shape of you, obviously. But what I want you to do is each week we're going to be placing a piece of armor of God. And maybe if you pop it on your wall or even on your door in your bedroom, so then each day when you wake up, you remember, oh yep, I need to put my helmet of salvation on, and you speak that and you pray that as well. Or perhaps the belt of truth, that you can go through each piece and put that on each day as well. So that's all in your craft activity packs. And there's also a prayer that you guys can pray each day as well over yourselves. And that's something that's eliminated, so you can keep looking at that and going over that each day as well, guys. So enjoy your week, and remember to keep your armor on, to put your armor on so that you can stand against the enemy's schemes.